Welcome, everybody, to episode 53 of Disney with the Ducks. Tonight, you've got your host, John Kroll, for the night. And with me, our fellow co-hosts, Lonnie G.
Greetings and salutations.
Kevin.
Hey, guys.
Gene.
How y'all doing?
And we've got Jody.
Hi, friends. How are you?
All right. So tonight, as we do every week, we're going to ask a question to try to get to know the group a little better. Tonight's question is going to be, when you were a kid, what did you save your allowance for? It seems relevant to any topic related to Disney, really, because I think all of us have to save up quite a bit for that.
Yeah, I'll go, John, if that's okay. I'll start it off. I saved my money for G.I. Joe or Star Wars figures because those were the things when I grew up, everybody wanted, right? So we buy them, we bring them to school, we'll trade them, all that kind of good stuff. So any kind of figure they had for that, for Star Wars, G.I. Joe, I was all in it. Because knowing is half the battle.
It really is.
Kevin, what about you?
So I, kind of like Lonnie, the same kind of thing. One of the things I remember saving up for was my parents told me, you know what, if you can save up your money, you can get a Nintendo whenever those came out. And I really wanted one, and I saved up my money little bit by little bit, and they didn't think I could do it, but I raised up enough to do it. So I was able to get my Nintendo, and who knows where it is today, but I did it.
That's a lot of money for a kid. I think in the 80s, those things were even like $100 or a couple $100.
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
I got a question, a follow-up question. Kevin, did you find that you had to blow on the cartridges sometimes when it wouldn't work? Or put them in the refrigerator? We will come up with different ways.
It was in the refrigerator.
Yeah, we would put them in the refrigerator.
That was the most technical IT support you could have for a Nintendo cartridge.
So the question, what made us say, like, where did we get the idea we need to blow on that cartridge? I mean, but everybody was doing it. I mean, you take out
everything. Yeah, you get the red blinky light like over and over and over. It's like, come on, Duck Hunt, what are you doing?
Yeah, blow on that thing. You're not blowing enough.
And there was a game that if you did two buttons at one time, it did something different. And who figured that out? It's just amazing.
It's just funny some of the stuff those programmers worked in there, like on
That's
Contra.
right.
The invincibility thing.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody knows that code.
Yeah.
And who ate the first oyster? Who was brave enough to do that?
Somebody really hungry, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you, it's not the person who ate the first one, Gene. It's the person that slathered some butter in that bad boy and put it on the grill with some garlic.
That guy was
that
a genius.
person is a genius.
Mm-hmm. Love that guy.
He is. All right. Jody, so what were you saving your money for as a kid? I mean, with how much you love food and wine, I'm guessing not wine as a kid, but some type of food?
Maybe.
That's frowned upon. Well, two things. So we were just talking about TV dinners before we started here. And when I was a kid, I was never allowed to have one. And so I saved my allowance one time to buy a TV dinner because I thought, you'd see them on commercials and stuff. They look so fabulous. And I was just curious. I wanted to know what they were like. Great disappointment. But I actually had to save my money. I went to a summer camp every summer, and it got to the time that I wanted to start going for 2 weeks. And my parents were like, well, tough luck. If you want to go for 2 weeks, you have to save the money to go for the second week. So I babysat a cajillion hours to save money so I could start going to camp 2 weeks as opposed to 1 week. So yeah, that was my big, I did that for a couple of years until I finally started working there. So
that's a lot more expensive than a Nintendo.
Well, yeah, I mean, who knows? But it's now, I don't know, $500 or $600 a week, I think.
Yeah.
But, who knows?
So expensive.
Back in the 80s, 90s. But yeah, summer camp at Camp Ernst.
Does your daughter go there too, Jody?
She does.
To the same camp?
Yep.
Okay.
That's
really
not so much. Yeah, he's not a fan of camping or outdoors or any of that stuff.
So, sounds like a typical boy around that age. I know Caleb's the same way.
Yeah. He likes outside if there's sports, but he's not going to, if there's no sports, he's not interested.
Well, Jody, I think I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
Okay, the TV dinner that you bought. Did it come with the brownie or did it have cornbread? What was that little side dish treat?
It was definitely the little compartments, right? And it was
they all are.
It was the one that had like the metal, right? Because this is remember how old I am. This is probably, I don't know, pre-microwaves or maybe They definitely weren't like microwave dinners back then. You would put them in the oven. So, yeah, I don't remember which dessert it was, but it was like a Salisbury steak or something like that is the one that I wanted. It was not good.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're just a spring chicken, Jody.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. That's where I am.
All right. So Gene, little Gene, what was he saving his money for?
Little Gene. So I was wondering, what kind of age we were talking about. It sounds, guys are talking like, I don't know. I think about like when I was maybe 9, 10, 11, 12,
Yeah.
something like that.
That's what I'm
I'm
thinking
buying, like Lonnie said, action figures. I didn't trade them though. Like I never traded. Why would you trade? I mean, you need to have them all, right?
Yeah, but
those.
yeah.
Only
but
if you
again,
got one dirty or lost a part.
exactly. Like I got Snake Eyes, but I want Storm Shadow. I mean,
Yeah.
but they didn't have Storm Shadow at my TGNY, so I had to,
Yeah, I understand.
switch out. That's
I
the only
understand.
reason why. Don't judge.
The other
me,
thing that I saved my money for was comic books. And
Oh, yeah.
we didn't have in my town, we didn't have a comic store, but we had the K&B drugstore, and we had Abe's grocery store, like in my neighborhood, like a small little, locally owned grocery store that had the spinning rack. And
Oh, yeah.
so comics were kind of hit, and they weren't really hit and miss, but like most of the big titles were there. And I don't want to miss one. So that's what I did with my money.
Yeah, it seems like those most of the times had a lot more DC comics.
Mm-hmm.
At least in
That's what I read. I read DC.
Same for me.
My buddy would go see his dad in Lafayette, Louisiana, and they had a comic shop, and they had more places, and so he
Mhm.
always came home with Marvel comics.
Mhm.
Nice. All right. Well, kind of like how Gene, you and Lonnie are with some of those things that you collected, like the action figures and stuff. I was like that with baseball cards. I mean, that was just our thing. Me and all my buddies, we would save up all our allowance, birthday money, ride up to the card shop, and then we'd trade cards, for hours at a time, probably to just end up at the end with the cards we started with. But
Did
it
you
was
eat
just
the bubble gum?
the what?
Did you eat the bubble gum?
Oh yeah, it was amazing for that 0.2 seconds before it ran out of flavor. They were
still
like
have
completely hard. What?
Do you still have your baseball cards? Not the big one.
No, this is like one of the biggest mysteries of my life, and it's bugged me for like almost 20 years. Some
Wow.
point between moving apartments in college and then moving to Florida and back to Michigan and then out of my parents' house, somewhere in that loop of moving, I lost my box of all my main cards.
Hmm.
So, it was it bugs me really bad because like one of my all-time favorite card was Ken Griffey Jr.'s
Mhm.
Upper Deck rookie card. And my sister got it for me for Christmas one year because my parents were like, we're not spending $50 on a card or whatever it was at the time. So I got it from my sister for Christmas and I loved it. I still had that card up until the point when I lost them, whatever that was in my mid-20s sometime. So
Tragedy. That's
I know.
bad.
But that was our thing. Like we just rode our bikes up to the store and then we'd come back and trade cards. So God, that was so fun. And you knew all the statistics because you had it on the back. Oh man, just the best. Kevin, I think you probably did a lot of the same stuff me and my buddies did. Did you guys look at the box score every morning and go through all the games and
time.
everything? Yeah.
All the time. And we had there was like a magazine you could get to check the value of the cards. Beckett, that was it.
Yeah.
And we would dig through that and look at every single card. You say, oh man, only 10 cents.
Yeah.
I thought he was better than that. He deserves more respect.
Yeah. Like what? 25 cents for Cal Ripken Jr.?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, we did that too. And it was so fun. But yeah, so okay. So a lot of us had to make decisions though of what to do with our money. And one of the things at Disney sometimes you have to do is you have to decide between this or that. So that's what we're going to go through tonight. We're going to talk about some different scenarios of you have to pick one or the other. And then we're each going to answer each other's questions and just have some good discussion about some of these topics. So,
and the beautiful thing about, I don't know if you want to point this out or not, but the beautiful thing about this is one that's going to be a little bit more off the cuff. So we don't even know what the questions are that are coming. So that I think it's going to be a lot more fun tonight because of that. That it's not always fun.
Well, and we also might have a little surprise guest. So if you hear some baby noises being made throughout the recording, my son Crosby is currently sleeping on me. So try not to wake him up, guys.
Special guest.
No laughing.
All right. So let's start first with, well, I think one of our favorite topics for all of us is food. All right. So Jody, let's start with you.
All right. So here is a big this or that. Are you going to choose the cheeseburger spring roll cart or the cheeseburger pod from Satui Canteen?
Ooh.
Two different types of cheeseburgers up against each other. So, all right, Kevin, which are you going for?
Well, I've never had the first one.
The spring
But-
roll cart? Oh, you're missing.
I want to try it, but I've had the cheeseburger pots for the first time back in January, and they were fantastic. So I don't know how they could be any better than that. So I'm going to go with the cheeseburger pods until I get proven otherwise.
All right.
So Jody,
Yes.
I'm obviously, I'm very familiar with all these things as being
I
a
know.
Disney expert.
Yeah.
So for our, our listeners that might not be as familiar with these items, give maybe just a brief 1 or 2 sentence description of each of these. I mean,
Sure.
I think the cheeseburger egg roll, spring roll rather, is pretty self-explanatory, but you can give it a shot,
So those are located in Magic Kingdom, and it's just a cart. It's not it's not a restaurant or anything, and the line's typically really long. It's right before you get into
because it's delicious.
It is delicious, and they have special ones sometimes. Like the one during the 50th was a pastrami one that was really delicious. They are,
Cheeseburger.
yeah, but that was. So they have a cheeseburger one, but then they have specialty ones.
Oh, okay.
But so
I mean, I
the-
know that, but I've just.
Yeah, and of course you know that. So it's a cheeseburger inside of a little spring roll, and it's at the spring roll cart in Magic Kingdom. And then the cheeseburger pod is it's a pod. It's in Animal Kingdom. It's Tui Canteen, and rumor has it that it tastes a lot like a McDonald's cheeseburger, but it's steamed in the
Pod. Oh, pod.
thing.
So it's sort of like a dumpling.
Like that's what it sounds like. I mean, that if somebody didn't know, that's what it would sound like to them. But yeah.
So which of the two? Because you're the expert, Gene. So which one?
Well, I mean, I've had them both so many times. They both. If I didn't know, if I wasn't familiar with them, they both sound absolutely delicious. So I would probably, I don't know, golly, probably because I'm on the go, and I'm running around and I'm not going to Thule, whatever, and I'm gonna get spring rolls. That's what I'm gonna do.
Good choice.
Oh man,
Why am I even here?
for this right here. Oh boy. All right, Lonnie, what are you picking?
Well, first off, let me just say this, John. Jody, that's a very good question. Gene, you actually had the cheeseburger pods. It's Santura Canteen is right outside of Avatar Land.
I
right?
know that. I do really know
in
that.
there, and we both had those. In fact, we had the bowls, and then we got a side order of those, and we divided
Did
them
I
up.
like it? Did I like it?
Yeah, and you did like them. So,
And that's
Jody,
the expert move. That's the way
That
you
is a very smart
You
move.
get the bowl and then you split the pod for.
you can.
Well, I mean, as an expert, that's obviously, even if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna do the expert thing. I make boss expert moves.
Yeah. So Gene did have them. He did like them. I'm gonna go with Kevin as well. First off, the canteen is so good, right? I love it.
Yeah.
Everything there is actually really, really good. So I'm gonna go to cheeseburger pie there. And to your point, Joey, I like to get the bowls and then get a couple on the side because you can get them on the side.
All right.
Mhm.
For
Great
sure.
choice. All right,
Good
John.
All right, so I gotta preface this with I can't eat either one, so I've never
Oh,
had
I'm
either one.
That's
Mm.
very-
But if I were thinking about this in terms of, put that all aside and I can eat anything I want for a day.
Does cheese give you GI distress? I'm just
No, cheese does not. The gluten.
I don't want to know your personal. I'm just joking.
That's a HIPAA violation.
I know, right? I thought about that after I asked. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to violate your privacy here.
No, I'll show you guys what happens when I eat gluten.
No.
You've actually talked about that when running and you ate the
Yeah.
waffle or whatever. Yeah. So I was yeah.
Oh man. I'm gonna go with the spring roll because that sounds amazing, and I love egg rolls, spring rolls. So I think putting that with a cheeseburger, which is also delicious, it's a great combination. So I'm going with spring roll.
We're 50-50.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh,
No,
but we have 5 people. Which one are you picking?
I didn't vote.
Yeah.
It was my question, so I didn't vote.
Oh, okay. Well, what would you pick?
Oh, I would have Tim get one and I'd get the other, and then I'd eat them both.
There you go.
Smart,
There you go.
smart, smart.
That's the expert move right there.
Mhm.
Although I'd have to park hop when, anyway, but yeah,
But yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Solid way to handle that one.
they're pretty delicious.
All right, Kevin, what do you got for this or that in the food category?
How about the fish and chips from the Yorkshire? I know I'm going to do that wrong. Yorkshire, or Ronto wrap from Hollywood Studios.
Oh,
That may be a really easy one for some people.
That was mine. I was gonna go
Was
fish
it
and
really?
chips with one. Yeah, but that's okay. Perfect. I'm going fish and chips just because I've been craving them for so long.
Well, what was yours,
Um,
Lonnie? Because I couldn't think of a good second one.
Oh, I actually was gonna do fish and chips, and I was gonna do over the mac and cheese bowl over in Adventureland. But either one you can do. I mean, both of them are good. Ronto wraps are good. I guess the thing is, if you want to say, do you want it in the breakfast one
No,
or
the
the lunch one?
Lunch.
Because so I'm gonna go with fish and chips though. Still love the fish and chips. I'm craving them. Can't wait to get back and get some.
I'm gonna go with fish and chips as well because they're delicious. It's fish and
Mhm.
chips. You really can't get a more perfect meal than fish and chips.
Right.
It's got everything, all the food groups. So
Yeah.
By the way, Gene did eat fish and chips as well. Not this dopey, but the previous dopey, he had it.
In the dark. In the dark.
In the dark. So he remembers that because he was like, man, what am I eating? And I said, fish and chips. He said, you sure? And I'm like, well, I'm not sure anything, but I mean, that's what we ordered.
All right, Gene, what are you picking?
That's so wrong. Man, this is tough. So I'm just gonna go snacks in general at Hollywood Studios, and I'm gonna go in general popcorn because I know everybody. We always talk about popcorn, right?
You didn't answer the question, Gene. I think they were asking if you want the
I'm
fish
sorry.
and chips or the.
I'm sorry.
He skipped it all.
I'm
He's like-
sorry.
He's like, I'm out. I don't like this question. Popcorn or
I thought this is a no-brainer.
Why would you
You
say
were just talking. Stop it. You basically had answered for me, So you're talking about me eating the fish and chips. I love the fish and chips. I love fish and chips anywhere I get it. Basically anywhere where you go. The Ronto wrap is okay. It's okay. I like it just fine, but fish and chips are money every time, even in the dark.
Well, I didn't vote.
I'm glad I could amuse you guys.
Yeah, thanks. I was going to actually use the fish and chips one too, but I was going to use it against the lobster roll at Magic Kingdom because I was like, those are two seafood items. I was trying to
Oh, that's a good choice.
stick in the family there, but I also would go with I've not had the Ronto wrap for lunch. I've only had the breakfast one, which was pretty good. But I like the Docking Bay 7 food a lot more, so we tend to go there. But the fish and chips, man, I don't know that there's a trip that we just skip it. I mean, I think we go there every time, and which is crazy because there's so many delicious food choices in Epcot. But
Yeah.
those fish and chips are on point.
all right, that was a good one. All right, so Lonnie, what about you from a food standpoint? What are we
All right,
choosing
guys.
between?
I'm gonna go with this. Would you rather the steakhouse burger from Steakhouse 71 or the fried chicken from Art Smith's?
I knew you were going
Oh.
there. I 100% knew you were going there.
Oh,
What was the first one again?
burger.
the steakhouse burger from
Oh.
Steakhouse 71
Or the fried chicken?
on the fried chicken from Art Smith's.
I'm going with fried chicken. It might be one of the most delicious things on the planet, and they do it really well. So I'm going with that.
Jody,
I'm going with the fried chicken too. I've not had the burger from Steakhouse 71. I've had my favorite thing there is the bacon and eggs appetizer, which was really, really good. But yeah, I gotta go with that fried chicken from Homecoming. So good. And I had it for like breakfast one morning because we had leftovers. So from the chicken and biscuits, I had it left over from that night that we were there, and I ate it in my room the next morning after one of the races. It was pretty darn good.
Yeah, sounds perfect to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we talked about just the exquisiteness, the deliciousness of cold fried chicken the next day?
No, but it is
Oh, it's
amazing.
So
It's
good.
really
It's
good.
so good. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and jump in here and tell you, I'm gonna go fried chicken every single time over that the Steakhouse 71 burger, which is fine. It's good. I like and I like burgers in general. Fried chicken is just like that's my love language. So
Along with holding hands.
I'm going with the fried chicken. I was raised on fried chicken. You know, that fried chicken is what reminds me of being a kid on Sundays after church, but maybe up a notch with a little bit with some donuts on the side. And that's the best chicken I think I've ever had.
Hey,
It's so
speaking
good.
of that, did you guys hear that they're switching and they're going to use Everglazed donuts?
What do
I
they
did
use
not
now?
hear that.
Yeah, I thought I just heard that not long ago. Maybe I'm spreading false rumors, but I'm pretty sure I heard that on a podcast or read it in the Disney Food blog or something that they're going to start using Everglazed at HomeCon.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
We should have cued the breaking news thing, and Jody been like, just in, you know.
have you guys ever had an experience where you ate something and then you didn't feel well afterwards and that ruined that thing for you?
It's the
Yes.
popcorn.
Yes.
Yeah, popcorn.
Popcorn.
Captain Morgan.
I'm going to tell you right now that I went to Art Smith's homecoming, and the next day didn't feel so great. Wasn't it Art Smith's homecoming that we went to the night before? Yeah.
Mhm.
And as many of you have heard, I didn't make the half marathon the next day. But I don't have any ill will towards fried chicken. I mean, I don't have a single bit of bitterness towards Art
That
Smith's.
was not the day before the half. That was the
It
day
wasn't.
before
Well,
the
that makes it sense. But I get it all
That's before the
mixed up.
10K.
Yeah, Jody, you just kind of let him go. He was on the
That's
was
why.
thinking-
That's why I asked. Y'all know it all runs together for me. And plus, that was just
Oh, yeah.
such a crazy
That was
whole deal.
your like.
Where do we eat? We ate somewhere.
We ate that Thursday, didn't we? Thursday
Mhm.
after the 5K.
after the
Thursday.
5K? Yeah.
After the 5K.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hamburger. But hamburgers weren't ruined for me either because Kevin and I had a date night at the drive-in theater.
Yeah. At the
Yeah,
South
we had burgers and fries at the sock out, burgers and fries and milkshake. Chevy.
We watched creepy old movies about weird things from outer space.
Yeah, but it didn't ruin the burger for me.
That was a good burger.
I'm just trying to give you guys, amusement.
We appreciate it.
Only thing I can add.
Oh man, has everybody else given their food this or that? Except-
Gene
Sure.
hasn't.
Oh,
man.
Gene.
Sure, we all have.
No, Gene has not.
Gene, go for it.
I'm just gonna go snacks in general because you guys talk about popcorn a lot. So I'm gonna say popcorn, right? And there are pretzels all over the place, and there are pretzels at Hollywood Studios as well as there's popcorn. So Bavarian pretzel, or choose any of the popcorns. I don't care. Let's just make it crazy.
Pretzel.
This or that pretzel, yeah.
Oh yeah, pretzels are so delicious, especially with that fake plastic cheese.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing
You
better.
got that. You dip
Mhm.
that thing in, especially like when you get them hot. And Disney seems to do a pretty good job, I think, because they have so
Mhm.
much turnover. That they're always hot and fresh, and just everything about it is great.
John, I think that's a good point because if you get a pretzel that's been sitting there all day long and it's all crusty and almost like it's just not the same. So
Yeah.
for me, I would
You can hit it on a table like that.
I would definitely pick the pretzel as long as it's fresh. But if it's not,
Mhm.
popcorn.
What about you, Jody?
Well, you said any popcorn, so
Any popcorn.
that means maple popcorn from Canada. So
That's right.
as
That's
much
right.
as I love a pretzel, and I do love a good soft pretzel, in particular the
Mhm.
one from Germany is pretty darn
Mhm.
good. But I don't know that maple popcorn. I can't get it in it at home. I can get a pretzel at any stadium or any event, but I cannot get maple popcorn. So I'm going with
You get it at Annie's in the mall. You can get it anywhere.
those are good. I'm telling you, that's addictive in the mall. You smell that, you're walking down the mall and you're like, oh darn it, now I gotta stop here because you just can't. You can't walk by.
I think there's one in our Walmart. I mean, they're everywhere. They're ubiquitous.
Yes.
Big word.
Good word.
Lonnie,
Man,
Lonnie had the answer, John.
it's a hard one for me because I'm still kind of making up with the popcorn. I really believe popcorn got us sick.
No one's ever been sick from popcorn, Lonnie, ever in the history of mankind. Ever.
Do you remember what happened in January when we had the popcorn?
That's not popcorn.
All right. So
You don't get sick from stuff like in stages, like one person one day and then somebody else 15 days later. It doesn't work like that.
Well, yeah, tell it to the Walking Dead, because what happened with them is one would get it, and then down the line, what happens? Boom, another person get it. Next thing you know, zombie.
That was just inside of them, though, because even the people that just died, they.
When you became an expert on zombies too. I mean, this thing is one thing, but anyway, just because of that, I'm going with the pretzel. All right, next question.
Doesn't matter to me. I don't have a loyalty either one.
Oh man,
Gene, why are you the way you are? Just answer that for me.
I haven't talked to Lonnie in a week, like once in a week, man. We get on here and he's just harassing me. That's all. I mean,
I couldn't harass him all week because he was at a meeting. So I mean, literally, I had to text him. You can't harass people via text.
oh, you can.
Oh no, it's not the same. We talk like 2 or 3 times a day. So when you have that, you kind of go crazy.
I harass all of you fine folks on text every day. So
that's true.
you just gotta try hard enough. That's all.
that's true. You're just not working hard enough.
All right. So for mine, I'm gonna go with 2 classic ice cream dishes from Beaches and Cream: the No Way Jose or the kitchen sink. So with the kitchen sink, when you order it, it's a whole production, right? They've got the lights going off. They've got people coming out. There's, they're going to tell everyone that you ordered the kitchen sink and that it's using a whole can of whipped cream. And of course, everyone else is going to say a whole can, right? I mean, it's awesome. But then the No Way Jose is just chocolate and peanut butter and completely delicious. So which one are you picking, Kevin?
I'm going with the kitchen sink just because that would be so much fun with the kids. And I think with kids at the table and everybody sharing in that excitement and fun. And I think they would think that's really a big fun thing to do and that you don't get to do anywhere else. And it's just forget everything else and just pile on the food, on the candy and all the goodies and everything you got, put it in there.
Throw caution to the wind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All the sugar you want.
It's such a cool experience too. And I mean, it's huge. Like, I think when we ordered it the first time, we had 2 or 3 kids, but it was enough to feed our whole family. And I mean, it was delicious. And I probably would have tried to eat the whole thing by myself, but wouldn't have ended well. But Lonnie, what about you? Which one?
Well, I like to keep a low profile. So I'm gonna go with the No Way Jose because I just don't want everybody like the can and all that and coming to the table and announcing all that kind of stuff, man. I like to keep it kind of low.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What's so funny?
Have you ever been in line with Lonnie for a ride or an attraction for that matter?
Hold on, though.
I mean, good
I have
gosh.
to say something. So you always say that it's Lonnie, but you were chatting it up to just as many people. I mean, I witnessed it.
Oh man,
Thank
I'm an
you.
introvert. I'm an introvert.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm telling you, you were everybody's friend too.
Low profile. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
If
Well,
somebody's
let's definitely-
lactose intolerant, the kitchen sink would kill them.
Oh
Think
yeah.
about that.
There's a lot of milk in that.
Yeah.
But you know what? With the No Way Jose, you can get it made with dairy-free ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Or just take a little lactate before. I don't know.
Yeah. Pop 2 of those guys and you're fine.
I'm just keeping
You're
a low
fine.
profile and doing what I'm doing.
No GI distress whatsoever.
I'm gonna get in and get out.
Gene, all right, what about you?
So even though I am low profile, I would go with kitchen sink, and I want all the hullabaloo and the rigmarole. You know what I'm saying? And I would have to.
Oh. He hit the button.
For you guys who can't see, Gene just dropped off. Some people call it punishment. Some people just say, you know, boom.
Oh, poor Gene.
Gene?
Before I was so rudely interrupted. I mean, geez, man. If you ask me, I'll leave.
We've been asking you for like a year. Nah, man, I don't know what happened.
So as you guys know, I'm an introvert. I don't know what you heard, but I want all the hullabaloo, the rigmarole, even shenanigans if there are any. I don't think I've been to this place, but Lonnie's probably going to pipe in and say, "Oh yeah, we went in 1943 or something." I don't know. But
no, we didn't go. I can tell you, we did not go.
But it looks like the kitchen sink, and somebody probably said this, but I missed it, is not just for one person. So I'm gonna, you know what? It says it for 4, but hey, I'm gonna bring all of y'all with me, and so you can have your whatever else you're gonna have, and you can help me with the kitchen sink. But we're gonna cut it up and we'll put it in our old bowls because, germs are nasty.
Well,
I
and
don't
that's a
wanna
good
get sick.
point. At the end of the kitchen sink, I mean, it's just the remains of spoons in
Soup.
everyone's mouth and back in the bowl.
Lonnie will attest to this, like at our work stuff. Like I'm like, just give me my own dessert. But people like order desserts for the table and they're dipping spoons, and I do it, but I keep my bites away from it, And it's really not germs. It's just I don't drink after people. I don't eat after people. It's just the way it is.
It's gross. Yeah.
It kind of is.
Yeah. All right, Jody.
All right. I feel
Oh.
very strongly about this one. I truly believe that after God made the earth and the heaven and skies and the animals and the birds and the humans and everything else, he created chocolate and peanut butter.
Nice.
And it is a gift from the heavens to be enjoyed any possibility that you can. So for me, the answer has got to be No Way Jose, because it's combining those two amazing flavors into one, and it is there to bring us joy. So yeah, I'm a No Way Jose all the way.
I'm
That's
pretty
a good
torn
choice.
on this because you're right. The No Way Jose is absolutely delicious, and everybody in my family loves it. So it's a tough choice, but I got to go with kitchen sink. I like when all the lights go off and everybody, all the kids have fun with it and stuff, and just there's literally every topping they have in there on top of that thing, and it's so good. So that's what I'm gonna pick. All right, so next up, let's do a ride. So we'll choose between rides. So I don't remember what order we were in last time, but let's start with Gene.
Okay. So Kevin, I hope I'm not, stepping on your toes here.
Not at all.
Well, you never know what I'm going to say. So I'm going to stick with a Star Wars theme, and I'm going to say they're not the same ride, but Rise of the Resistance or Smuggler's Run. You can only pick one.
I'm going to go with Smuggler's Run because when I was a kid, one of the things you always wanted to do was ride the Millennium Falcon. So getting to finally do that as an adult was a pretty awesome experience. And I mean, the queue is amazing. The ride itself is super fun. Just everything about it I love. And I love Rise of the
Unless you're an
Resistance,
engineer, but whatever.
But you still push buttons, just like the gunner.
I push more than the buttons that light up too. I probably
I do too.
everybody else.
I push them constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So it annoys my kids, so then I do it even more.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's my choice.
Good choice.
Thank
Lonnie?
I'm gonna go with Rise of the Resistance. I just don't want to ruin it for anybody. I love the queue. Love when you're captured and you kind of walk in to the hangar. It's just, I think it's more, I tell people all the time, to me, it's more of an experience than it is a ride.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go to Resistance.
That's a good choice too.
It's
I'm
Star
gonna
Wars.
follow
It's Star Wars
Lonnie.
themed Ratatouille. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm going to follow along with Lonnie and go with Rise as well. It's got all the elements of a good ride. It's got a good story. It's got a little bit of thrill. It's got, your favorite characters. It's got a good queue, a lot of cool artifacts to check out on the way in. I do love Smuggler's Run, so it's a little bit tough for me, but I've only gotten to be the pilot once. So if I could be the pilot a couple more times, maybe I would lean a little more toward the Falcon. But for right now, I'm all about Rise.
Well, they know that you're an engineer when
I know
somebody lets it slip.
they look at my degree and just say, "Here you go,
Yeah.
move
That's your
along,
job.
move along."
Go push those buttons.
Yeah.
Jody, what about you?
Definitely Rise. I really want to like Smuggler's Run. But I get in there and I am always with some random family or I don't know, and it always the kids are screaming and we're crashing into stuff and I can't even follow. Like, I'd love to see how it's supposed to look. Like, I'd love to see like an actual ride through where someone knew what they were doing and did what you were following the train and everything. Like, I prefer to sit back and just watch it because I'd like to see what the experience is actually supposed to be. I've not had that experience ever. I've never gone through it where we do what we're supposed to do. So,
I'm so sad for you, Jody.
I'm the same way.
Experience.
I've ridden it 5 or 6 times and it's always been the same.
Well, you guys know how you can fix that problem, right? You just have to have more kids, and then your family can fill up the whole ride vehicle.
There you go.
And you tell the
Little
kids
pro tip.
where to go, huh?
Yeah. And you know what?
There,
When you get the pilot and your little kid gets the engineer, you say, "All right, buddy, there you go. There's your seat."
Go to town.
Yep. Push
They
those
don't know any
buttons.
different. They don't know any different.
No.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Can I make a hot take?
yes.
Yes.
To me, Smuggler's Run is nothing but a souped up Star Tours.
I don't think it's that hot.
But I
Change
love
my
Star
mind.
Wars.
I do as well, especially when I'm the spy. But to me, it's the same thing. I mean, it's just I'm in a
more
row with people, or
more
I'm in here
interactive.
pressing these buttons. Yeah. So I
But
don't
it's
know. To me,
still-
it's just yeah. I'm thinking. I know people will. They'll come at me with that, but I'm like Star Tours, Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, but the same.
So I would say the same thing,
Yeah.
Lonnie. I mean, I don't think that's off base at all. I'll tell you that I could be wrong about this, but I think I've only ridden Smuggler's Run. Rise once, and I didn't have any. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't no spoilers. I did it. I wasn't able to get on it whenever I went in May for cheer. And when Kevin and we got escorted through the back, I mean, we saw how the hot dogs were made and everything behind, the back lot. We saw where their employees park, they were smoking, stormtroopers were smoking,
there. I mean,
the Emperor was, he was,
Disgusting.
had his shoes off and stretching his legs. And, it was just crazy. But my first
Shoot lightning all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Lightning just
Unlimited power.
yeah, shooting rats with the lightning. But just
So set off the fire alarm, I think.
the first time it was, I was in awe because of, this, everything, what you guys were talking about, the queue and all the things that you saw, just the props and everything. I mean, it was great, but I just ridden Mickey and Ratatouille and it's the same ride, just Star Wars themed. I want to ride it again. And there's a good possibility that would become my favorite. I just haven't experienced it enough. So I'm going to go with Smuggler's Run right now because of my experience. Hey, but I'm open. If I ever go to Disney World again, I'll ride it, or I'll try, but it'll probably be broken.
And hopefully you can figure out the whole virtual queue.
That's
Gotta
pretty
make sure you
difficult.
get in.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
always
for
helpful
sure.
to have somebody nearby. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Sarah's not with
Appreciate you.
Sarah's not with you. You in trouble.
Because Lonnie wasn't going to help.
Lonnie was at the back dying.
Lonnie
Thanks
was
so
hurt.
much.
I know Lonnie
Thanks for
was
that
on his not
I was
deathbed because he
I was
run a
gonna
race, but
The death stroll.
Walking Dead.
Question of my life choices at that time.
Mhm.
Hey, but
he
I
was interviewing
still
balloon ladies.
literally I still said to Jeff, you need to call Gene and them and tell them get them a start Rise of the Resistance boarding group. So I
He
still was
did.
thinking about you even though I was dying and
He did.
knocking on heaven's door.
He
We
did.
bought
and
it, but we bought it
He
about
asked
a
me
week.
to do it, and I tried to do it, and I couldn't figure it out.
Oh,
So
we
I'm
couldn't
like,
figure it
Sarah,
out.
help! You're our only hope.
Our only hope. Oh
And I
man.
don't even know. I mean, the whole thing is a blur. So I know we bought a lightning lane, and then we bought something else, and we put Lonnie on it. Then we got our money back, and we got, we gave whatever you call it, a shout out to the person that helped us, because they did a good job for us. But it was really all kind of foggy for me still.
Yeah. Well, you guys had a lot of running that weekend and a lot of illness. So put those two together, it can make things difficult.
For sure.
All right, Jody, what's your this or that?
So my this or that are rides that I think are kind of similar in nature. I was trying to figure out something that was a little similar. So I'm going to say Ratatouille or Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railroad.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That might be the hardest one.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a
so
tough
those are
So hard.
this or that. All right. So John.
Man, I don't know, because I love both of them. I think I'm gonna go with Ratatouille just because I love the movie, and I don't think it gets enough love. Although it is nice to see Mickey in a ride. I kind of want to do both.
Of course
All
you
right,
do.
I'll pick Ratatouille.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the show is this or that, not both.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Lonnie, what about you?
I'm gonna go Mickey and Minnie's. I think it's a great ride. To John's point, though, it's the only ride that's actually Mickey and Minnie themed, right? So really like that one. I liked it more than I thought I would, actually. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Awesome. Kevin?
I'm following along with Lonnie. I'm picking Mickey and Minnie's too. I do love the Ratatouille ride. It's very creative, making it, without spoiling it, making it feel like you're part of the movie, I guess. But the different scenes and things for Mickey and Minnie's, I really like that. I just like the fact that it feels like you're in a cartoon. That's the best. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. Yep. All right. Gene, have you been on these rides before?
I have.
You rode it with me.
However, Ratatouille, it's been broken. I don't know how many times I've tried to ride it, and you're in line for, literally we were in line for like 2 hours, and they shut it all. I mean, it shut itself down, but they sent everybody home. Not home. You know what I mean? So that's a little aggravating for me. But there's a little bit of aggravation with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway because it's not a train. So what?
I'm sorry. I hate to keep doing this.
What?
Are you saying you never rode Ratatouille?
No, I'm not saying I never rode it. I'm just saying several times when I've gone to ride it, it's been broken.
Oh, because we rode it.
I
got
know.
the picture of it to show me and you outside pointing at Ratatouille.
I didn't say I hadn't ridden it.
Oh, I don't know, man. I just want to clarify.
Do you not understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Well, it sounds like you said you never rode it. You said it's
That's not
always
what I
broken.
said.
You
I
said
need you
it's
to listen a little bit
always
better.
broken. You
It
said
is
it's
always
always
broken.
broken. But it's not because we rode
It's
it.
like when we
And-
go through McDonald's and you say, "Hey, just for giggles, is your ice cream machine working?" No, it's not.
It's not.
Hey, man, look,
Ratatouille
I just know-
is the Disney equivalent of a McDonald's ice cream machine.
Yeah,
all
what
I
is it
know
with
is-
those kind of rides?
All I know is, man, I thought we shared a really nice time riding it together, and I just wanted to make
We
sure
did.
that you remember.
We
that.
did.
That's
Of course, I remember it all. But I do
Okay.
obviously remember that.
Okay, good deal.
But yeah, Kevin, you're right. It's something with that style because
The
Rise
trackless-
is always down too.
Rise and Ratatouille, but Mickey and
Because
Minnie
it's the
seems to be
same,
a
and
little
it's
more
the same
consistent.
ride. It's the same ride.
Yeah.
I thought
Maybe
that's
more
what Guardians of
attractive.
the Galaxy was going to be. You're getting a little thing, and you go this way, and maybe
Mm-mm.
Peter Quill's making you all dance. I didn't know.
No, it's not
Thankfully, it wasn't. Thankfully, it wasn't.
Kevin's like,
that.
no.
Not that at all.
No, it wasn't.
Kevin wasn't doing nothing but just trying to hold on.
Oh man.
I love that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely not Ratatouille.
No.
You all right, Kevin? Oh, I'm all right.
If I hadn't said it,
I was not
I'm
all
going
right,
Mickey
by
and
the way.
Minnie. So
I'm sorry I made you ride it twice, man. I apologize.
No, it was great.
he said it.
Probably won't do it
It's
again.
better.
But one time is probably good for me from now on.
I'm gonna vote on my own, and I'm gonna pick Ratatouille. I like that in the ride. They also have things up with your different senses and smells and all that. I appreciate that. I like the queue. I like when you see Gaston's restaurant and he talks to you. I really love that part. I think Mickey and Minnie, they got to do something with that queue outside. It's just
Yeah.
so blasted hot.
Mhm.
It's just
There's
uncomfortable.
no shade.
No,
Mhm.
why they can't build some sort of maybe it's sight lines and they don't want to mess it up, but it's just bad. Like that, when you're outside, you're dying, and
Mhm.
it's just not enjoyable. So maybe
But
that's my problem is I get I'm salty and like literally because I'm sweating to death, but I'm like a little cranky by the time I get in there because I'm so darn hot. So
But
Yeah.
Jody, they put up those little umbrellas every 30 feet.
yes, those are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even try to hide the switchbacks. You actually see the switchback right there. And you know how I feel about switchbacks. So they were really lazy with that one. I got to give it to you, Jody. You're right
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just
Anyway.
switch them back.
Oh man. All right, Kevin. This or that rides.
So how about Pirates of the Caribbean or Haunted Mansion?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Dark rides.
Oh,
All right, I'll answer first because I don't think anybody wants to choose here, but I'll fall on that sword. I'm gonna go with Pirates. I love the movies. I love the song. I love everything about that ride. So I'm gonna go with Pirates of the Caribbean.
I
Gene.
don't think it's a hard decision at all.
No.
I like the movies, the ride attraction, whatever you want to call, this slow moving boat. Maybe you could have been better served by asking this or that with Pirates and It's a Small World because it's a small world. They're both in a boat. It's a Small World. The song's a little more annoying, but I'm gonna say Haunted Mansion every time. I was actually thinking in my mind, I wonder what somebody should compare Haunted Mansion to something, and I hadn't got there yet. Haunted Mansion, it's an amazing ride. I love it. Pirates is good. I like to ride it, but it just between the two, Haunted Mansion every time.
Jody, which one are you picking?
tough one. I love them both, but I've got to stick with Haunted Mansion. I just think the originality of it, and if you watch any of the Imagineering shows and learning more about it, I just fell in love with it even more. It's my son's favorite. I mean, listen, I've got a Haunted Mansion shoes, purse. I mean, I like it. So yeah, Haunted Mansion. I love
And
it.
it's got real ghosts. Real ghosts.
I know
Oh, they are real.
they are.
All right, Lonnie.
And then on that show where we talked about making rides into movies and
The Muppets.
there's so many great ideas for that, like a real horror movie with it. I think somebody said Muppets. I mean, so many great ideas. So anyway, go ahead.
All right, Lonnie, which one of those are you picking?
Haunted Mansion, hands down. Love it.
Man, Kevin?
And I'm going the same, Haunted Mansion all the way. That's the one ride that I feel like I haven't been to Magic Kingdom if I haven't done that. Especially, on a hot day, it's great. I love it.
I'm surprised I'm the only one that picked Pirates, especially with the beautiful smell in there and everything. Oh, that
You can
That
bottle
water-
that water and sell it if you want.
You really can.
Stick them down there and sell it. I'm just saying.
I can also bottle it from my tap and sell it and say, this was
same
on
thing.
Pirates.
Same thing. Oh, yeah, same thing.
Oh,
Okay.
man. All right. So that was Kevin. Lonnie, what is your this or that question for rides?
All right, I'm gonna go coasters. I'm not gonna do Guardians because I think that's a little different. I'm gonna go Slinky Dog or Everest.
Oh, it's a hard one.
Man,
That is
That's
a
a
hard
toughest
one.
one so far.
I was going to compare Slinky Dog with a different one too, but yours is much harder to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I
These-
love what he says.
These are probably my two favorite rides, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So come on, John, give
I'll
it
go
up.
first.
Just when you
I'll
do
go
it.
first.
Oh, Kevin.
Well,
Kevin's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
step. Kevin has volunteered for tribute.
I'll volunteer. So I do love Everest. The innovation of it, it's awesome, awesome, awesome. But from the first time I rode Slinky Dog to the last time I rode it recently, it is so much fun every time. I feel like I could ride that thing all day long. I just love it. It's so much fun. So I'm picking Slinky Dog.
Good deal. Jody B.
I'm going as much as I love Slinky Dog, and I think it also will that ride will allow me to ride it longer in my years. because it's smooth and not so
Mhm.
crazy. But I got to pick Everest. I love it. I love that ride. I think now even more so after riding at marathon weekend during the marathon. I
Mhm.
love it even more. I don't know. It's exciting and thrilling. But I love Slinky Dog too. That was a hard one. So
Well, that's a good point because not everybody may know that in the marathon you can technically ride, Expedition Everest, and that may change some people's mind.
yeah, but that was a tough one, Lonnie. Thanks for making me. I feel like I was cheating on a friend there or something.
How many hair ties did you throw up there at the mountain?
I have never thrown a hair tie there because I need them. I can't give them to. And you definitely need one when you ride Guardians, because if not, your picture looks like this. You can't see it all. So, yeah, never thrown a hair tie.
I would, I think it will change my answer if they actually fix the Yeti instead of Disco Yeti. We actually have it back to the original form, maybe. But John Carl, what you got, sir?
Oh man. So this is like choosing your favorite child. And much like my favorite child, which I clearly have one, I clearly have a favorite ride at Disney. Slinky Dog is my favorite ride. I think it's so fun. Like you guys said, it's so smooth. It's just an awesome ride. But Everest is probably my second favorite. So this was a really tough decision because
Mhm.
Everest is cool because I know like my oldest daughter loves it, so we ride it together. She always throws a hair tie, and I'm always like, "What are you doing? Those things cost money," you know. But I just love Slinky Dog. It was a very, very tough decision.
All right, costume for a race. You come dressed as the Yeti, and then you have all the hair ties all around you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Whoa, that would be fun.
Take it,
That's a
make
great
it
one.
your own.
That
Mean
would be
Gene,
awesome.
what you got, sir?
Yeah, I like Slinky Dog a lot, but I've got just really a lot of good memories from Yeti. I mean, Lonnie and I rode halfway our first marathon, and I've just got memories of my daughter riding it. Being able to just the right time of day, just the stars aligned, and being able to ride it again and again and again. And then going next door to Yak and Yeti. Just really some really good memories from it. And so I'm going Everest every. It really is one of my very favorite rides. I love it. I love roller coasters in general, though.
Gene, you said something there, man, and I think it was something that makes Disney so special, and it's the memories, right? It's like, like you said, you remember you riding with your daughter a bunch of times and going next door. They do that. It's that's why it's my happy place. Just the memories I have. Same thing with you rides with my daughter and doing this and doing that with my wife there. So I like that you said that. Good deal.
Yeah, I agree too. And that's the way it was for us with Slinky as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. The other thing, though, I do have some regrets because I'll never run a marathon again, and I didn't get to do Yeti because as it is, we saw balloon ladies, and it just wasn't going to happen this time. But it's okay.
But next time we got it.
I hope y'all do. I wish you the best.
No, we got it. We're doing it for Crawls for when Crawl does it for his 2025, right? John?
That's my hope. Yep. That's the plan.
So there you go.
If
we
you
go.
get somebody,
We got to support. We got to support John.
Yeah, you have to come.
We agree.
So
well, I mean, if they do it in a different weekend, it's not right after Christmas. I mean, I'm all for it. But not the marathon probably because I'm old. Anyway, next question.
Oh man. All right, Lonnie.
I do love me some John Kroll though. So anyway,
who doesn't?
I know, right?
All right. So who hasn't answered Lonnie's question yet? Just Lonnie.
Everybody
right?
has. Oh, I'm not answering this my own. But Slinky Dog will be the right answer.
There we go. It's such a great ride.
Yeah, it is. And to Jody's point, so smooth.
Oh,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the best. And it was really cool when they were building Galaxy's Edge that when you're going up that one hill, you can see into Galaxy's Edge. That was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was awesome.
It's like that was your best view.
Would be like,
yeah.
I want the ride right
here.
Over at Galaxy's Edge.
But yeah, that was the best. Okay, so now, oh wait, I haven't asked my ride yet. Okay, so you stole my Slinky Dog, Lonnie. So I'm going to change it to. I
discovered it.
You found it first, and you're just gonna claim it. All right. So I'm gonna go with Soarin' or Flight of Passage.
Ooh,
Ooh.
very similar.
Yeah, similar but different. But yeah. All right. Let's see, Jody. Which one would you pick?
Love them both, but I think I'm gonna go with Flight of Passage, only because Soren, I feel like so much depends on where you're sitting. It could be a great experience, but when you see the Eiffel Tower and it's curved because you're
Yeah.
sitting in the far end seats,
Yeah.
that takes away a little bit. But yeah, they're both phenomenal. I don't know. Now I feel like I'm talking myself into Soren because, like Gene said, all the memories there. We've had such great family memories there. I don't know.
So Jody, think of it this way: like, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well,
You said-
I'll give that some thought then.
You said-
Oh,
think,
man.
think about it this way, and that's does that help? Does
Uh,
that help?
I lost it. Oh, I mean, the Eiffel Tower looking like Gonzo's nose is a bit of a problem, right? But it's just such an amazing ride.
It is. Oh, that was tough.
Did you pick?
I
You said Flight of Passage,
think
or
I said Flight of Passage, but
but
now
then
I
you were
think Soren. I'm going with Soren.
okay.
Yeah,
It's a
I
good
can't-
choice. All right.
that was too hard.
They're not meant to be easy, right?
know,
Or else it would
I know.
just, yeah, there would be no fun. But part of the fun though. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Part of the excitement of the ride, Jody, is the fact that you don't know if you're going to get a great view or a terrible view.
That is true.
So that's part of the fun to me. I
And
don't.
the smells. I do love the smell on the
Oh my gosh, I got
Yes.
one of the citrus fields
Mhm.
candle from God, what is it? Magic Candle Company, I
Magic
think.
Candle. Yep.
Yeah, and it is the best.
I like the elephant dung one the best myself.
That is a good one. Oh, that's you can actually send people elephant dung.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's an anonymous poop sending. It's like that's not really for the show.
I don't know if we want to share that with people.
No. All
Maybe
right.
we do. I don't know.
Oh boy. Okay. Okay. So, we got Jody's answer. Kevin, which one are you picking?
So in my mind, I'm trying to think of how would I, kind of sort these out. So Avatar, definitely one of the coolest things, with the technology and the breathing dragon and all that. But Soarin', you can actually experience it with the people with you a little bit more, I think. So I'm going to pick Soarin' because, like Slinky Dog and some of the other rides, being with the kids and experiencing it with them, I loved Flight of Passage. I've ridden it for the first time. It's great. But being able to ride with, my kids and my dad and everything on Soarin', and I've got a lot of good memories with it. Maybe if I ride Flight of Passage a little more, it would go that way. But being right next to family and being able to kind of talk to them as you're flying, it's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I think it's just such a cool ride, but they both are. You're right. Lonnie, which one? You got to pick one. Which one is it?
I'm gonna go and say I'm just a little disappointed in Jody and Kevin. I mean, you guys were linked right to a Avatar, right to the Navi. You guys rode a Banshee,
We
right?
did. Yeah.
and yet you're gonna give that all up to look at Gonzo's nose if you're in the seat. I'm going Avatar Flight of Passage.
It's
And I'm
great.
gonna ride that Banshee like I stole him.
They did, that ride is so cool though. The way the
Yeah,
Banshee breathes and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
it's a pretty.
I mean, I like Soarin' too. What do you get? You get the smell of dirt when you ride over the elephants, right? You get this and that. You get the eagle coming at you. I mean, it's a good ride.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing compared to being chased on a Banshee.
That's true.
That's a
just
fair
saying.
point.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
And you don't have a Flight of Passage in Disneyland, right? Which is another
Oh.
cool thing. So you can only ride in Disney World, which is cool.
Okay.
I knew he'd get Disneyland in here somehow. But when all the great things about Soarin', all those nice smells, they don't compare at all to the Stitch ride that we just don't get to experience anymore. Attraction.
So is
Smelling
that
thing-
your answer? You
So
want
that
Stitch
the smell of that
Stitch?
thing, No, you didn't give me that choice.
No,
I
but you
wouldn't
took
choose
it.
it.
Why are you pushing my buttons tonight?
I wouldn't choose that anyway.
I feel
I
like the
would
Millennium
choose-
Falcons. You picture my buttons.
I hate to be on Team Lonnie at this point, but I'm gonna say Avatar. Just I don't want to talk to Lonnie anyway. So if I'm riding it, I don't. That's just a few minutes where I can just block him off. And just experience me. I can become one with the Banshee. During that time. If it's with my family, we can talk about it afterwards. If it's with Lonnie, I'll just walk ahead and ignore him.
And walk right to Santuli Cantina and get you those cheeseburger pies that you forgot.
There you
about.
go.
There you go.
Yep, perfect. All right, so it looks like it's a 2-2 tie right now, and I'm gonna break that tie by going with Soren because I love the smells. I love
There goes.
the way your feet hang off. Like it just makes
Yeah.
me feel so much more like I'm flying. God, it's just so fun. And
Do you ever say
works.
I'm the king of the world?
No, but now I want to next time I
Yeah, you
ride
should.
it.
You
Just
should.
yell it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that ride is amazing. I love Flight of Passage too, but yeah, if I had to pick one, it's definitely going to be Soren. And I like the video at the beginning because I love
Yeah.
that dude that
Oh, yeah.
I forget his name, but yeah,
Joe Swanson.
yeah, okay, Joe Swan.
Well,
I
that's his,
love-
that's his character anyway.
Oh, what's the?
Indie
Yeah,
guy.
I like the actor though. Like I just like his voice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all right. So we finished with rides. Let's go on to our last category for the night. We'll do resort, this or that. So, Lonnie, let's start with you.
All right, so I'm going to compare it to the Deluxe, if that's okay. Animal Kingdom Lodge. You can do either Jambo or Kidani or the Boardwalk.
Oh,
That's easy for me. I'm going to answer that first.
Okay,
Animal
let's hear it.
with an exclamation point. Because the grounds are amazing. It's like nothing else that I can ever see anywhere else. The activities and things that they have going on there, the scavenger hunt you can do to see the animals, the meeting with the cultural representatives from Africa, everything about it is phenomenal. I absolutely love that resort. Boardwalk scares me. I don't like clowns. I don't like the chairs. I'm not a fan. I don't want to go there. So I'm 100% without a doubt. That was an easy choice. I didn't even have to think twice about it. Animal Kingdom.
And you said it with conviction. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
For
an easy
sure.
one.
and I'm going to follow along with Jody and pick Animal Kingdom too, because I think that would be. I've never gotten to stay at either one, but I've been to both resorts, and I mean, Animal Kingdom is just in a class of its own. I think. I mean, I like the Boardwalk area, but I think Animal Kingdom beats it every time. I mean, the views and everything there, it's just great.
Man, it's a tough decision because I think Animal Kingdom Lodge is one of the best themed. To me, it's that and Wilderness Lodge are both
Mhm.
very, very well done. But I just love the Boardwalk for the location. I love the Bellevue Lounge in there. I really like being on Crescent Lake with some of the other resorts that you can walk to, and walkability to two different parks. To me is a pretty big deal because I just. Man, I love that ability to walk around. But yeah, so it's a tough choice, but I'm gonna go with Boardwalk.
Yeah, it's funny, John. That's why I chose it because of Animal Kingdom's awesome, but it's the furthest one away.
Yeah.
Where Boardwalk, you kind of like boom, I'm right in the middle of everything. So,
Yeah.
Gene, what about you?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sir. So, would you
I'm
like
just
to stay?
joking. I'm just joking. So, I've never even been to the Animal Kingdom Resort. I've heard of it. People talk, guys talk. You hear things. I think I've had reservations at some of those restaurants and canceled them before because just something we couldn't make happen or something. I don't remember exactly, but I've never been there. And,
You ate at Sanaa.
So you know what? I looked at the menu because it sounded so familiar, but I didn't.
Because you ate there.
I didn't think I had. Okay,
We did.
well,
Yeah, that's at
okay.
Animal Kingdom. You know what?
So, but I don't have a lot of experience there. So.
Oh no!
Man, your guys' relationship is just like me and my wife. It's amazing. It's always me forgetting what I did and her telling me, "No, you did that."
But you know what I think is funny about this, because y'all give me a hard time or actually Lonnie gives me a hard time. But like every time y'all propose something for a show, it's like we've done that before. Like it's a slight variation. very similar to how it's a slight variation on, one marathon weekend to the other, because they just all come together. They all blend together, man. And it's hard for me to
Yeah.
remember.
I agree with that.
But
That's a long
I know
excuse for saying you forgot that you ate at Sanaa.
yeah, I forgot.
All around.
But I don't have a lot of experience at Animal Kingdom. And so, you talk about all the events and all this stuff. Like, we came in, I haven't looked around. I haven't spent a lot of time there. Where I've spent a little bit more time, walked around the boardwalk resort, so that's where I would spend. That's where I would choose is Animal Kingdom. I don't care what Lonnie's, but with you guys, not with Lonnie.
All right. Oh man. All right, Lonnie, which one are you picking?
I'm gonna go with Animal Kingdom Lodge. Love it over there. Like to Jody's point, it's kind of like a world away from the hustle and bustle. There's so much things you can do there. You can actually have a vacation there without going into the parks. That's how much stuff they have. Even at night, there are things like you get the night vision glasses. You can spot some animals there.
See, I didn't do that. I didn't do any of that. I don't know. I didn't know any of that existed. So there, how you like that? Keep going.
Well,
Tell
now
me
our
about all
listeners
the
won't make
tell me
that
about all the
mistake.
things I'm supposed to know
You're right.
about.
So you can also have the bread service, which Gene did have at Sanaa. So you can have that over there. The food is fantastic, right? You look at the two resorts, and I usually combine them together because you can go to Boma, you can go to Sanaa. It's just a great place to go and hang out. And where else can you go and look out your window and see exotic animals, right? Sit on your balcony, drink some coffee, and look at animals. Frolic.
The frolicking is really what draws me into wanting to stay there. It's just if I have to get a million kids onto a bus to go to any of the parks, and that's man. All right, so Lonnie, I think that was a really tough question though. Kevin, what are you thinking in terms of resort choices?
I'm thinking, how about Grand Floridian or the Poly?
I'll go. I mean, I don't even have to think. You could have said
I know you.
any
We all know
resort.
what John's going to answer.
Yeah, I'm going with Polynesian. It's my favorite place in the world to stay.
I'm gonna go with John. It's quick. Love the Poly, laid back. The pool is awesome. The restaurants are awesome. I'm doing the Poly. The smell is awesome in that lobby.
Yes.
Love it, Poly.
I'm vote number 3 for the Poly. It's one of my favorites, and I can't wait to stay there this summer.
All right, Gene.
So I haven't had a chance to look up what restaurants are at the Grand Floridian to know that if I've been there or not. I think I have, but I have been to the Poly, and I don't have I don't remember what it smells like. It might smell like bananas. I don't know. It might smell like patchouli. I don't know. It could smell like elephant dung. I have no idea, but I'm going to, based on what you guys say and based on my own experience eating at Ohana's there, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right. See,
Yep.
I know these things like that restaurant. Expert. Right. So I'm going Poly as well. Make fun of that, bro.
All right. Kevin, which one would you pick?
So
I'm
angry.
gonna go.
I think
What's that?
He's so angry.
Yeah.
No, I'm picking Grand Floridian. And
so. You got
Good
okay.
choice.
Go ahead.
so I think I'm the only one that picked Grand Floridian. But I've got a lot of good memories there. It's where we had our honeymoon. Being able to walk to Magic Kingdom, have it with the new path there. During Christmas, I really like the way they decorate everything. So I mean, I don't know if it's how they relate on the price scale or whatever, but without looking at any of that, I would probably pick Grand Floridian. I mean, the pool's great. The food's great. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, it is a great resort. We love it there. We've stayed, I think, twice now, and yeah, it's a great place. All right, Jody, what is going to be your question for the group?
All right. I've got 2 moderates to go up against each other. So Caribbean Beach Resort or Coronado.
That's a good one.
Oh, I'm going Caribbean Beach.
You are what?
Okay, so I love the theming. I love the fact that it's close enough to the Riviera where you can go there and enjoy. They have a couple of good restaurants there. Their quick service Primo Piatto is one of my favorite ones, and you're right by the Skyliner too. So you've got the Skyliner stop either over at Riviera that you can go walk to pretty easily, or the one obviously at Caribbean Beach. But yeah, no, I just think every experience. I've never stayed there, but we've stayed at the Riviera a few times, and I spent a lot of time walking around or running through. My running route went through Caribbean Beach, and just having breakfast there and stuff. We just love it.
Awesome. All right, Lonnie.
I'm gonna go with Caribbean Beach, especially the Aruba section, Skyliner access. The rest, the pool is pretty cool there as well, right? So I just like it, and the memories, right? When my daughter graduated, that's where we stayed when we took her to Disney for a graduation present. So I'm gonna go with Caribbean Beach.
Awesome.
I'm going to go with Caribbean Beach too. I stayed there for a Star Wars race. I stayed at Coronado for Adobe one year. And you know, even though they're not on the Skyliner, they do have their own dedicated bus. You don't have to share with any other resort. So that's kind of helpful getting around. But having the Skyliner, I think edges Caribbean Beach ahead. Their food is fantastic. You know, the pool is really cool. I really like the island that you get to walk into, and they have hammocks and stuff there. I spent some time out there just hanging out one day, and it was so much fun. You know, just hanging out on the little island and walking around. So I'm picking Caribbean Beach.
All right, Gene.
Yeah, I'm picking Pop. I'm just joking. Caribbean Beach. I have not been to Coronado that I can think of, that I know of. Maybe I have. Lonnie's probably. I was just thinking to myself, I should never ever say that again, because every single time I say it, Lonnie's does like this. He says, Gene.
Gene, here's the question: is it Caribbean Beach or Caribbean Beach?
It just depends on, because I probably say it both ways.
Okay.
See, I always say Caribbean Beach, but Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
That's why.
Oh, you know what? I do that too. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sometimes I sit down in my quiet time and I pontificate questions like that.
Is it
Caribbean
caramel,
Beach or Caribbean
caramel or
Beach?
caramel?
Yeah, exactly.
I say caramel. My wife says caramel, and she corrects me every time I say it.
I say caramel, and my daughter says caramel and told me I was wrong. So
I say caramel. But I say a lot of things wrong from the South.
When you say caramel, you drop a whole syllable. What's up with that?
That's the way the South does it. We cut as
It's
many.
very interesting.
yeah, you guys want to stretch everything out, where us Northerners were more efficient. We started, production lines and everything started here in Detroit. So
Maybe so.
we got the efficiency of a Swiss watch or something. I'm not sure what, but so anyway, we cut the long story short, we cut that word down by a syllable to save ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to vote on my own, and I'm going to be the only person that says Coronado. I do love Caribbean Beach Resort. I love the Skyliner access, but Coronado to me has better food and beverage and nightlife and things to do. Like they've got Barcelona Lounge, they've got Toledo, they've got Three Bridges, which is fantastic. They've got Rick's Sports Bar. I mean, I just think it's, they've got the Tower, which is absolutely unbelievable. So I'm actually going to be the one to say Coronado. So anyway, that's my
All
answer.
right.
Okay, who's next?
That's a good question. All right, Gene, what do you got?
This is my choice for this. I
Yes.
thought I gave it, but I guess I started to.
No. Which
your question.
what two resorts do you want us to decide
Oh,
between?
I'm sorry. Because I never said which one. So that's why I wasn't sure where we were. But I don't care what y'all
You
think.
didn't?
You said
Um,
Caribbean Beach.
I thought you did too. Because then we started talking about is it Caribbean or Caribbean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, because I said I'd never been to Coronado, and I expected.
I'm all in
Lonnie
your
to say-
head, man.
Yeah, we
All
ate
in
it.
your head.
Yeah, we ate it. Blah jabba blade blade the toopy toppy. And I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh man.
You expect me to, run more miles than the miles that
Just
I'm
ask the
trained
question,
for,
man.
and just
Oh my
be
gosh.
and just be like in a fog and go to a restaurant and don't even order the stuff. I just order what I'm told to, what somebody says is good, and I don't remember. I don't remember any of this stuff, man. So let me think. So I'm going to go all budget. All right, I'm going to go all budget. Pop, which we've all stayed at, for races, and All-Star Music.
All right, so I'll go if that's okay and give my choice for the value resort.
Dude, it's budget, it's value. You can call it whatever you want to, but it's budget.
I'll go with Pop.
Why?
Skyliner access. The food court is fantastic. Now, look, I was sick there last time.
Mhm.
You know what? We could have been sick from the room. Now that I think about it, what do you guys
It
think?
could have
Instead
been.
of popcorn, it could have had something in that room some kid left for us. Like a
Maybe.
surprise.
A
Get some of this.
prize?
Surprise! Get this. Right.
Are you saying you get what you pay for?
Well, yeah, you definitely get what you pay for.
Mhm.
Yeah, you definitely get that. But I'm just saying, maybe a kid just left something for us. But man, Pop is the best plat. Especially for race weekends and stuff like that too, right? So I'm going with
Mhm.
Pop.
Okay.
I'm back. I'm on the same train to Pop. I'm going to stick with them. The Skyliner, Game Changer, the breakfast at Pop that Jody introduced us all to was fantastic. The bagel is so good. All the food options they have there are great. And then the bus service, I've never had any issues with that. So it's just a great place. A lot of good memories there. So I'm picking Pop.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know that I agree with y'all that say that there's great food choices, because anyway, I'm just saying. Jody, what about
I'm
you?
going with Pop Century also. I've not stayed at any of the other values, but so I don't know that it's fair that but Skyliner, bagel sandwich. And what other resort do the cast members go out and do the hustle at 1:00 in the afternoon every day? I mean, that's pretty fun. So
It is fun.
Pop Century, it's got to be Pop. Although I do want them to maybe stop the Christmas music on January 1st next year, because
You're kind of
know.
rigid about that,
Yeah,
Well,
you're a little bit of a bah humbugger, and
Yeah, a
I'm
little
not
bit.
It's
really.
just
digging
too
it.
I wasn't gonna say Grumpster. I won't
it's
go
just too
that far.
much. It's the same song, the same tacky Christmas songs there. So yeah,
Ooh, tacky
What
Christmas.
do you have against
Whoa,
Santa and Jesus?
whoa,
I mean, what's
I
what's
know.
up?
yeah,
She said tacky
it's
Christmas songs.
yeah, that's what they play at Pop. So once they switch over to
Alright.
normal music, I'm fine. But yeah, but anyway,
Wow.
Pop Century is still my answer.
My heart hurts right now.
I'm,
You punched me right in the soul with
I'm
that.
so sorry, John. I'm so sorry. Okay, what's your choice, John?
It's Pop Century for the same reason you guys mentioned. I like the food court. I thought it was pretty good especially for a value resort, and my room was super nice. It was one of the refurbished. I think they're all refurbished at this point.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, just so like clean and just nice. There's chargers everywhere.
Mhm.
I liked it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Pop.
Okay, that's fair.
What about Gene? What are you picking for your?
So it
question?
was a trick question because I haven't been to All Star Music since my 19-year-old was about 4. But I'll tell you that having stayed at All Star Sports, which it's right there next to Pop, right? Am I right about that? Isn't
No.
it right there? No.
Art of Animation is next.
yeah.
Say that again.
Art of Animation.
Art of Animation. Okay, so, but I will say I did stay at Sports for cheer, which makes sense, right? And the cafeteria was exactly the same. I mean, I know it's not the cafeteria. The dining options at the value resort were exactly the same. And they're fine. But after 2 or 3 days of chicken nuggets or chicken strips, and because we don't have a lot of time, we don't have a lot of time always to go to different restaurants. Pop is great, but you guys, I kind of have a little bit of FOMO now because you guys talk about all these great resorts that you go to, and we don't have a choice. For cheer, we end up having to we stay where they tell us to stay, and so not a lot of options. But Pop is just fine though. I mean, I've enjoyed I enjoyed staying there for races, and they've got great options. I talked about the heroes that fixed us some food, conjured up some stuff. I mean, it was concocting things. They were making magic back in the back. The allergy chef for Lonnie, didn't have an allergy, but he had an allergy to couldn't keep anything down. So, some chicken broth and whatever else they put together. So
Yeah,
I'm a
that's-
big fan because of that kind of stuff,
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Last question then for the night is
Y'all don't call me for this kind of stuff, man.
What?
Mine's weak. Anyway, keep going.
good.
Jeff,
All right,
cut
so-
that out.
I know Jody already used Coronado in hers, but I think it's the best one to put up against this other resort. So I'm going to say Port Orleans French Quarter or Coronado. Where are you going, Gene?
I'm going Port Orleans because I've been there and I really enjoyed it. The restaurants are good. The accommodations were nice. There was enough room in there for me, my wife, my son, my daughter, and my mother-in-law. And it was just I don't remember what the transportation was like. It was a long time ago. Or any of those, particular things, but the food was good. We had, nice place, plenty of room, really enjoyed it.
All right. Jody, what about you?
Believe it or not, I'm going to stick with Coronado. We stayed at French Quarter last year, and it was fine, but I didn't like their pool at all.
You
And
didn't like the pool with the Gators playing trumpet and the big serpent?
Oh yeah. I remember that now. That's cool.
didn't love it. It was, I don't know, our room, when we walked down the steps, we were close to the smoking area. And so maybe that's what I had that association, like, oh, I would come down the steps and, 50 feet away, people would be smoking. So maybe that's it was fine, but I still like Coronado more.
That was authentic French Quarter smell they was pumping
Yes.
for you.
That's right.
Cigarette smoke, if you had stale alcohol, you're there. You're there.
And P.
Man, that's a wonderful scent. Yeah, you're really selling
And
it.
make that in the can.
That's authentic New Orleans. You know what I'm saying?
Make that into a candles.
Yeah.
Kevin, which one would you pick?
I'm picking Coronado. I just really enjoy Coronado. I love the lake. I love, the Three Bridges. I love the food options there. For all the same reasons we had before, they've got their own dedicated bus. Now I know that Port Orleans has a boat, I believe, that can take you to Epcot. So even with that, I think I would go with Coronado.
Yeah. Well, so the boat goes to Disney Springs.
Okay.
And then back to Port Orleans French Quarter and Riverside.
How do you not even know that?
Yeah.
Well, no,
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Jeez.
I should know all the transportation things.
I know, right?
Oh, especially you.
I know.
Yeah,
I
that's
dropped the
right.
ball. Sorry, guys.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I know. I'm disappointed too.
All
I
right,
believe in you, Kevin. You can do better next time.
Lonnie,
Hey.
what's your choice? What?
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna do French Quarter for two reasons. Number one, beignets. We'll go with that. And the second reason is I'm actually feuding right now. I got beef with Coronado. I have beef with Three Bridges because they haven't put the new schedule out for the Sangria University.
Oh, there you go.
Do they know you're having beef?
Yes, I called them and I said, "Hey, FY beef." Told them that.
What's for dinner?
Yeah, and they were like, "What?" I said, and they said, "What?" I said, "Huh?" So yeah, until they post that and I can get a reservation for Sangria University, I'm not. They're not in my good camps. We got beef. So there you go. So I'm going with the French Quarter. I'm gonna grab some beignets and I'm gonna go look at the alligators playing the trumpet and the serpent at the pool.
Yeah. I'm going with Port Orleans French Quarter too. I did stay one night at Coronado and I liked it, but it's a huge resort.
It's big.
But if French Quarter is just so small and everything is just themed perfectly to at least to me anyway. I know it doesn't have the sense that Gene would like to have to make it authentic. But the beignets, Lonnie, I mean, those are delicious. And they have a good food court. Their food court has usually like gumbo or jambalaya. They have like shrimp po' boys and stuff. So that to me is my favorite moderate resort, and I even like it better than some of the deluxes. So I love the resort itself, and we have good memories there because we stayed there a few times and met up with some of our best friends there one trip. But I've always enjoyed the pool, Jody. I think it's fun. Just I don't know, something about an alligator playing an instrument. It just gets me every
That
time.
is fun, man.
Yeah. How can you get any more fun than that?
I know, right?
But yeah, and the whole bus thing too, because it's got the one stop there, so you don't have to deal like you do at Port Orleans Riverside, where it's got multiple internal stops. But you can also walk over to Port Orleans Riverside and use, go to their pool, go to their restaurant and stuff that they have over there. So there's a good bit of exploring you can do too. And then, like we talked about earlier, the boat into Disney Springs is really a cool option to have.
Yeah,
So-
we went to their pool and we liked it a lot better than French Quarter pool. So,
Okay. It is fun, like Old Man Island or whatever it's called.
mhm.
It's cool. But all right. Well, that was, I think, a good discussion on the this or that
Tough
topic.
choices. Oof.
Yeah, there were some really tough choices in there.
Hey, I want to before we move on. There's something I want to tell you guys about. So you guys, you make comments whenever that some of the stuff I haven't experienced and things like that. I don't know if you know that there are people that exist that are like this. So I only go 1 or maybe 2 times a year. Do you know I have some friends that have never ever been to Disney World, and not only do they they've never been, but if they have, when they go, like they don't go every year after that, or they don't go 3 or 4 times a year. I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know that people like that existed.
My best friend has not been to Disney, and so his wife is my wife's best friend, and we've been trying to talk them into this for years, and it hasn't gone anywhere. And I'm really bummed. So yeah, there are people like that out there, Gene, and they lack joy. So
Yeah.
But speaking of joy, we are going to bring a lot of joy to you, our listener out there. So it's time for Quacking Up with the Ducks, and I think all that is pure joy.
It is.
So Jody, what do you got for us tonight?
Yeah, so I woke up with a little bit of a headache this morning. So I was thinking about, why did the horse wake up with a headache?
Why?
Because at bedtime he hit the hay.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Okay, what do you call someone with no body and no nose?
Nobody. What?
I think
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
no.
Oh my god.
That was good.
All right, Lonnie.
Well, I can't follow up with Kevin, but I'm gonna try. What do you call a naughty lamb that dresses up like a skeleton for Halloween?
That's a
very
lot.
specific.
Vivid picture, Lonnie.
That is very
A naughty lamb that dressed up in a skeleton for Halloween.
what?
Call him bad to the bone.
Nice.
I like specific
man.
jokes.
Gene, you got a joke this week?
I don't have a joke, man. But I don't know if you guys know what's going on in my house, man. But my wife, man, she can hold a grudge. Man, I'm just trying to get past it. But the other day, she asked me for like the Carmex, her lips were chapped. So I passed her super glue. She hasn't spoken to me in like a week.
Oh man. Well, mine was so I've been watching the Australian Open, right? The tennis tournament that just took place. And it got me thinking, why sorry. We got,
Lonnie woke him up.
baby
Crosby.
problems.
Crosby wants to tell us his joke.
Okay. So watching tennis this past week got me thinking, why should you never date a tennis player?
I don't know, John. Why shouldn't you date a tennis player?
Because love means nothing to them.
Oh,
Nice.
That's good.
Crosby was like, "Oh, you're gonna tell that joke again?"
I was just like, don't tell it. Don't do it. Don't tell that joke.
He's so mad.
He's like, "You
That's how
told
you know
it.
it's a good bad joke.
You told it." All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed this episode of This or That. We had a blast recording for you guys. Please, if you like what you hear, we would love you to take some time to give us a review. How many stars we need, Gene?
5 every time.
Yeah, it helps with
Every
the
time.
algorithm, helps people find us.
Awesome.
So please do that. Please come join us on our socials. We have a lot of great conversations there. We're on Facebook at Disney with the Ducks. We're on Instagram at Disney with the Ducks. And we're at Twitter with D1 with the Ducks. So we don't tweet that much, I'll be honest with you. So, but still, we love to have you join anyway, right? So thanks to all the Ducks that showed up tonight. Gene, Jody, Kevin, Lonnie, Crosby, and Crawl. And we want to say thank you guys and have a great one. All right.
Give us those 5 stars. That way I can decide my own personal this or that, a jar of sand from where Tom Brady retired, or a bottle of water from Splash Mountain.
Tom Brady.
And with that, we bid you adieu. Bye, everybody.
Waharini.
Bye,
Au
everybody.
revoir.
Bye, friends. Oh my gosh, right.
Lonnie.
He left. That's all right.
If Gene doesn't come back, that's your fault.
Oh, is it my
You
fault?
probably-
Really?